You are standing in the hallway of your home. The house is quiet now. Everyone else has gone to bed. The lights are off. The only sound is the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, a distant, constant drone that fills the silence. You can hear the settling of the house, the small creaks and groans that come with the cooling of wood and the shifting of foundation. These are familiar sounds, comforting sounds, the sounds of a home at rest. The clock on the wall has just passed midnight. You know this because you heard it chime moments ago. 12 slow, deliberate chimes that mark the transition from one day to the next. The sound echoed through the empty rooms, a gentle reminder that the world has moved into a new hour. The hour after midnight, the hour when everything feels just a little bit different. Just a little bit more quiet, just a little bit more still. You are walking slowly down the hallway. Your bare feet make almost no sound on the cool floor. The floorboards beneath you are smooth and worn from years of footsteps. You can feel the slight coolness of the wood against your skin. It is a pleasant sensation, a grounding sensation. It reminds you that you are here, in this moment, in this quiet house. The hallway is dark, not completely dark, but dark enough that you must move carefully. There is a small nightlight plugged into an outlet near the floor, casting a soft amber glow that barely illuminates the space. The light is warm and gentle. It creates long shadows on the walls, shadows that stretch and bend as you move past the nightlight. The shadows are not frightening. They are simply part of the darkness, part of the quiet. You are approaching the bathroom. The door is slightly ajar. You can see a sliver of darkness beyond it. The bathroom has no windows, so when the light is off, it is truly dark inside. A deep, complete darkness that seems to absorb all light. You reach out and gently push the door open. It moves smoothly on its hinges. There is no sound, no creak, just the soft whisper of wood sliding past wood. You step inside. The air in the bathroom is cooler than the hallway. You can feel it immediately. The coolness wraps around you like a gentle embrace. It is refreshing. It wakes you up just a little, but not in an unpleasant way. Just enough to make you more aware of your surroundings, more aware of the space you are in. You do not turn on the light. You do not need to. Your eyes are adjusted to the darkness now. You can see the shapes of things, the outline of the sink, the curve of the bathtub, the towel hanging on the rack, and there, on the wall opposite you, is the mirror. The mirror is large. It spans almost the entire width of the wall above the sink. It is framed in simple wood, painted white to match the walls. During the day, it reflects everything. The light from the window, the bright tiles, your face as you brush your teeth in the morning. But now, in the darkness, it reflects something different. It reflects the shadows, the depth, the quiet. You stand in the doorway and look at the mirror. You cannot see your reflection yet. The room is too dark. The mirror is too far away. All you can see is the dark surface of the glass. It looks almost black in the absence of light, like a window into nothing. Like a space where something could be, but isn't. There is an old legend about mirrors after midnight. You have heard it before, perhaps when you were younger, perhaps from a friend who whispered it during a sleepover, their voice hushed and conspiratorial. Or maybe you read it somewhere, in a book of folklore or on a website dedicated to urban legends. The legend says that you should not look into a mirror after midnight, that something happens when you do, that something changes, that you might see something you are not supposed to see. But what does the legend say exactly? What is it that you might see? The stories vary. Some say that if you look into a mirror after midnight you will see your future. Others say you will see your past. Some say you will see something else entirely, a figure standing behind you. A face that is not quite your own, a reflection that moves when you are standing still. These are just stories, of course, old wives' tales, superstitions passed down through generations. There is no reason to believe them, no logical explanation for why a mirror would behave differently after midnight than it does at any other time of day. A mirror is just glass and silver, a reflective surface, nothing more. And yet, standing here in the dark bathroom, looking at that dark mirror, you can understand why the legend exists. There is something about mirrors in the darkness, something about the way they seem to hold the shadows, the way they seem to be watching, even though you know they cannot watch. They are inanimate objects. They have no consciousness, no awareness. They simply reflect what is in front of them. But do they? In the darkness, when you cannot see what is being reflected, how do you know what the mirror is showing? How do you know that it is showing anything at all? For all you know, the mirror could be reflecting an empty room, a room without you in it. Or it could be reflecting something else, something that is not there when you look around the physical space. You take a step closer to the mirror. Your feet make a soft sound on the tile floor. The bathroom tile is colder than the hallway floor. It sends a small chill up through your feet, up your legs, settling somewhere in your spine. It is not an unpleasant chill, just a reminder of the coolness of the hour, the coolness of the space. You can see yourself now, just barely. A vague shape in the mirror, a silhouette. The outline of your head and shoulders against the slightly lighter darkness of the doorway behind you. You cannot see your features. You cannot see your eyes or your mouth or the expression on your face. You are just a shape, a presence, a shadow among shadows. You stand very still and look at this shadow that is you. It does not move because you do not move. It is a perfect mirror of your stillness. Or is it? In the darkness, it is hard to tell. Maybe it moved just a fraction of a second after you stopped moving. Maybe there was a delay. Maybe there is always a delay, but you never notice it in the light. Maybe the darkness reveals things that the light conceals. These are strange thoughts, thoughts that come in the quiet of the night, thoughts that would seem silly in the brightness of day, but here, now, in this dark bathroom. Standing before this dark mirror, they do not seem silly at all, they seem reasonable, they seem possible. You think about the legend again, about why you should not look into a mirror after midnight. Is it because of what you might see, or is it because of what might see you? There is another version of the legend. In this version, mirrors are not just reflective surfaces, they are portals, thresholds between worlds, between this reality and another. During the day, when the light is bright, the portal is closed, sealed, safe. But at night, when the darkness comes, the seal weakens, and after midnight, in the deepest part of the night, the seal is at its thinnest. That is when things can pass through. That is when the reflection in the mirror might not be a reflection at all, but something else, something from the other side. What would be on the other side of a mirror? Another room, perhaps. A reversed version of this one. A bathroom that looks exactly like this bathroom, but everything is backwards. The sink is on the opposite side. The door opens the other way, and in that reversed bathroom there might be another you. A reversed version of yourself, living a reversed life in a reversed world. Or maybe the other side is not a reversed world at all. Maybe it's something entirely different. A dark space, a void, a place where things exist that do not exist in this world. Things that watch and wait, and occasionally, when the conditions are right, when the hour is late and the darkness is deep, find a way to look through the glass. You are closer to the mirror now, close enough to reach out and touch it if you wanted to. You do not touch it yet, you just look. Your eyes are fully adjusted to the darkness now. You can see more details. The frame of the mirror, the edge where the glass meets the wall, the faint shapes of the objects behind you, reflected in the surface. And you can see your face, not clearly, not in detail, but you can see the pale oval of it, the darker spots where your eyes are, the line of your mouth. You look like yourself, but also not quite like yourself. The shadows change things. They make your features less distinct, less familiar. You have seen your face in mirrors thousands of times, tens of thousands of times. You know your face as well as you know anything. But this face, this shadow face in the dark mirror, seems different. A stranger's face. A face that resembles yours, but might belong to someone else entirely. This is just a trick of the light, of course. Or rather, a trick of the lack of light. Your brain is trying to make sense of what your eyes are seeing, and without enough information, it fills in the gaps. Sometimes it fills them incorrectly. Sometimes it does not. Sometimes it creates patterns that are not there, sees faces in random shapes, finds meaning in meaningless shadows. This is why people see things in mirrors at night, not because there is anything actually there, but because the darkness makes everything uncertain. The mind does not like uncertainty. It tries to resolve it, to make sense of it. And sometimes, in trying to make sense of the darkness, it creates things that are not there. But knowing this does not make the experience any less strange. You are still standing in front of the mirror. you are still looking at your own face rendered unfamiliar by shadow. And there is still a small part of you, a quiet part deep down that wonders, what if the legend is true? What if there is something about mirrors after midnight? What if, right now, in this moment, you're not alone in this bathroom? You can hear your breath. It is slow and steady, in and out, in and out. The sound is very soft, but in the silence of the bathroom it seems loud. You can hear the faint rush of air through your nostrils, the slight whisper of your exhale. It is a comforting sound, a reminder that you are alive, that you are here, that you are real. The mirror does not breathe. Of course it does not. Mirrors do not breathe. They do not live. They do not do anything except reflect. But as you stand here, listening to your own breath, you cannot help but listen for something else. Another breath. A breath that is not yours. A breath coming from somewhere in the darkness of the room, or perhaps from somewhere beyond the mirror itself. There is no other breath. Only yours. Only the soft, steady rhythm of your own breathing. You are alone. Of course you are alone. You have always been alone in this bathroom. There is no one else here, nothing else here, just you and the mirror and the darkness and the quiet. You think about when people first started believing this legend. When did mirrors become associated with the supernatural? It must have been long ago when mirrors were rare and precious, when they were made of polished metal or dark volcanic glass, when seeing your own reflection was not a daily occurrence but a special event, a strange experience. In those ancient times, people believed that mirrors could capture souls. That when you looked into a mirror, a part of you was trapped inside, that your reflection was not just an image, but a piece of your essence. If a mirror broke, it meant that your soul was broken too. That is where the superstition about 7 years of bad luck comes from. 7 years for your soul to heal. 7 years to make yourself whole again. And if mirrors could capture souls, then perhaps they could hold other things as well. Memories, emotions, the lingering presence of people who had looked into them. Every face that has ever been reflected in a mirror might leave something behind. A trace, an echo, an impression in the glass. How many people have looked into this mirror that hangs on your bathroom wall? You have looked into it countless times, every morning and every night, brushing your teeth, washing your face, checking your appearance before leaving the house. But what about before you? If you live in an old house, there might have been other families here, other people who stood right where you're standing now, other faces reflected in this same glass. What were they thinking about when they looked into this mirror? Were they happy? Were they sad? Were they afraid? Did they stand here at night, in the darkness, looking at their own shadow faces, wondering the same things you are wondering now? Maybe some part of them is still here. Not literally, of course, but maybe the mirror remembers them somehow. Maybe all mirrors remember everyone who has ever looked into them. Maybe that is why mirrors feel different at night. Because in the darkness, when you cannot see your own reflection clearly, you might catch a glimpse of someone else's. Someone who looked into this mirror long ago, someone who left an impression that never quite faded away. These are just thoughts, wandering thoughts, the kind of thoughts that drift through your mind in the quiet hours. They do not mean anything. They are not based on anything real, but they are pleasant thoughts in a way, comforting even, the idea that we leave traces of ourselves in the world, that we are remembered even by inanimate objects, even by mirrors. You are standing very close to the mirror now, close enough that you can see your breath on the glass. Each exhale creates a small patch of fog on the surface, a cloudy circle that appears and then slowly fades away as the warmth dissipates into the cool air. You breathe out again and watch the fog form. It is like a small portal, a window into softness, into uncertainty. You cannot see your reflection clearly through the fog, just vague shapes and shadows. You reach up slowly and touch the mirror. The glass is cold, very cold. Colder than the air in the bathroom, colder than the tile floor. It is the kind of cold that makes your fingertips tingle, that makes you aware of the boundary between your warm skin and the cold surface. You press your palm flat against the glass. Your hand looks strange there, pressed against your reflection's hand. 2 hands meeting at the surface, separated by nothing and everything. In some versions of the legend, if you touch a mirror at night, you can feel the other side. Not the glass itself, but what lies beyond it. Some people say it feels different. Not cold and hard like glass should feel, but soft, yielding. Like pressing against something that might give way if you pushed hard enough. Like the surface of water, but not wet. Like the surface of a membrane separating one world from another. Your palm is against the glass. It feels like glass, hard and smooth and cold. There is no give to it, no softness. It is exactly what it should be. Just glass, just a mirror. You can feel your own heat beginning to warm the spot where your hand touches. The coldness is diminishing slightly, becoming less shocking, more tolerable. You wonder what your reflection is thinking. Your reflection, who is also touching the glass, who is also standing in a dark bathroom in the middle of the night, who is also wondering these same thoughts. Are you thinking the same things at the same time? Do reflections think at all? Or are they just images, empty copies with no inner life? If your reflection could think, what would it think about? Would it wonder what it is like to be you? To be the real one? To be the one on this side of the glass? Or does your reflection believe that it is the real one? That you are the reflection? From your reflection's perspective, after all, you are the image in the mirror. You are the one on the other side of the glass. There is no way to know which side is real and which side is reflected. No way to prove it. This is a very strange thought, an unsettling thought, but also somehow a peaceful one. The idea that reality is relative, that what is real to you might be a reflection to someone else, that there might be no true objective reality at all, just perspectives, just different sides of the same glass. You lower your hand from the mirror. You can see the faint print it left behind. The moisture and oils from your skin have left a mark on the glass, a ghost of your touch. It will fade eventually, or you will wipe it away when you clean the mirror next. But for now, it is there. Proof that you were here, that you touched this surface, that this moment happened. You take a small step back. You want to see more of the bathroom in the reflection, more than just your face. You want to see the space behind you, the door, the towel rack, the edge of the bathtub. You want to make sure that everything looks the way it should, that there are no extra shapes in the reflection, no shadows that should not be there, no faces other than your own. Everything looks correct. The bathroom behind you is reflected accurately. The door is where it should be. The towel is hanging where you left it. The bathtub curves along the wall in exactly the right way. There is nothing out of place, nothing unexpected. Just your bathroom, reflected in your mirror, exactly as it should be. But you continue to look. You continue to scan the reflection, searching for something. You are not sure what. Maybe a flicker of movement, a shadow shifting, something that would confirm that the legend is true, that there is something different about mirrors after midnight. Or maybe you are looking for the opposite, looking for proof that everything is normal, that the legend is just a legend, that there is nothing to fear. Fear is not the right word, though. You're not afraid. Fear is too strong a word for what you are feeling. You're not afraid of the mirror. You're not afraid of the darkness. You're not afraid of anything. What you're feeling is more like anticipation, like the feeling you get when you're waiting for something to happen. Not something bad necessarily, just something, a change, a shift, a moment when the ordinary becomes extraordinary. But nothing happens. The mirror remains still. Your reflection remains motionless except when you move. The bathroom remains quiet. The house remains silent. It is just another night. Just another moment of looking into a mirror. There is no magic here, no mystery, no thin place where worlds collide. And yet, you cannot help but feel that there is something subtle, something you cannot quite name or explain. A sense that the mirror is more than just glass, that the darkness is more than just the absence of light, that this moment, this quiet moment after midnight, is somehow different from all the other moments. Maybe it is the stillness, the complete and total stillness of everything. During the day, there is always movement, always sound, always something happening. The wind blowing, cars driving past, people talking, birds singing. The world is alive and active and constantly in motion. But now, at this hour, everything has stopped. The world has gone still. And in that stillness, There is space for other things, quiet things, subtle things, things that are always there but are usually drowned out by the noise of living. You can feel your heartbeat. It is slow and steady, a gentle rhythm in your chest. You are calm, relaxed. The darkness does not trouble you. The mirror does not frighten you. You are simply here in this moment, experiencing this quiet mystery, this small legend. This old superstition about mirrors and midnight. You think about all the other people who have wondered about this, all the other people who have stood in front of mirrors in the dark and wondered what they might see, wondered if the reflection would be different, wondered if something would happen. Generations of people stretching back through time, all sharing this same small worry, this same small fascination. It is a universal experience in a way. Everyone has a mirror. Everyone has seen their reflection at night. Everyone has felt, at least once, that small shiver of uncertainty when looking at their own face in the shadows. It connects you to all those other people, all those other moments. It makes you part of a long tradition of wondering, of questioning, of standing in the dark and looking for answers in the glass. There is comfort in that, in knowing that you are not the first person to do this, that you're not alone in your curiosity, that this is something humans have always done. We look into mirrors. We wonder what we see there. We tell stories about what might be looking back. The mirror is still just a mirror. Your reflection is still just your reflection. But the experience of looking, of wondering, of standing in the darkness and questioning reality, that is something more. That is something human, something ancient and ongoing, something that connects you to everyone who has ever lived and wondered and looked into the dark glass. You feel very peaceful now, very calm. The urgency of the day has faded away completely. The worries and concerns and tasks that filled your mind just hours ago seem distant now, unimportant. They are tomorrow's problems, or perhaps they are not problems at all. Perhaps they are just things that need to be done, and they will be done when the time comes, and there is no need to think about them now. Now is for this. For standing in the quiet bathroom, for looking at the dark mirror, for breathing slowly and feeling the coolness of the tile beneath your feet, for being present in this moment, for letting everything else fall away. Your eyes are heavy, not with fear or tension, but with the natural tiredness that comes at the end of a long day. Your body is ready for rest. Your mind is ready to let go, to drift, to slip into the quiet space between waking and sleeping where thoughts become dreams and dreams become nothing at all. But you're not quite ready to leave the bathroom yet, not quite ready to turn away from the mirror. There is something peaceful about standing here, something meditative about looking at your own face in the shadows. It is like looking at a familiar stranger, someone you know intimately but also do not know at all, yourself but also not quite yourself. The you that exists in this particular moment, in this particular light, with this particular set of thoughts moving through your mind. Who are you, really? Not your name or your job or your relationships, but the essential you, the consciousness that looks out through your eyes and experiences the world, the awareness that exists behind your reflection. Where does it come from? Where does it go when you sleep? Is it always the same you from one moment to the next? Or are you constantly changing, constantly becoming someone slightly different? These are the kinds of questions that arise in the quiet of night. Questions that have no easy answers. Questions that might have no answers at all, but they are pleasant to think about, restful in a way. They take you out of the specific concerns of your daily life and into something larger, something more universal, something that every person who has ever lived has wondered about. The mirror does not answer these questions, it simply reflects. It shows you your face, your shape, your presence in this space. It confirms that you exist, at least in this moment, that you are here, that you are real, or at least that something is here, something that looks like you, something that moves when you move and breathes when you breathe. Is that enough? Is existence just a matter of being reflected? Of leaving an impression on the world around you? Or is there something more, something deeper, something that cannot be seen in a mirror because it exists beyond the physical, beyond the realm of light and shadow and reflected images? You do not know. You cannot know. No one can know these things for certain. We can only wonder, only question. only stand in front of mirrors in the middle of the night and look for answers in our own faces. And maybe that is enough. Maybe the wondering is the point. Maybe the questions are more important than the answers. Maybe the mystery is meant to remain mysterious. Maybe some things are not meant to be understood, only experienced. You are experiencing this moment, this quiet, dark, still moment. You are here. You are aware. You are looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking these slow, wandering thoughts. And that is all you need to do. There is nothing else required of you right now. No tasks to complete, no problems to solve, no places to be. Just this. Just standing. Just breathing. Just being. The darkness in the bathroom is complete now. Your eyes have adjusted as much as they can. You can see everything there is to see in this light, which is not much. Just shapes and shadows, and the vague outline of your own reflection. But it is enough. You do not need to see more. You do not need bright light and clear images. The darkness is sufficient. The shadows are sufficient. The mystery is sufficient. There is a sound from somewhere in the house. A very faint sound. Perhaps the settling of a floorboard. Perhaps the house adjusting to the cool night air. Perhaps nothing at all. Just a small noise that means nothing. You listen for a moment, but the sound does not repeat. Whatever it was, it is gone now. The silence returns. The stillness returns. Everything is as it was. You realize that you have been standing here for quite some time. You're not sure how long. Time feels different in the dark. It stretches and compresses. Minutes can feel like hours. Hours can feel like minutes. There is no way to tell, and it does not matter anyway. You're not in a hurry. You have nowhere to be. You can stand here for as long as you like, but your body is tired. You can feel the weight of the day in your muscles, the tiredness in your bones. Your feet are cold from standing on the tile floor. Your eyes are dry from staring at the mirror. It might be time to leave, to return to the hallway, to make your way back to your bedroom, to lie down in your bed and let sleep come. But before you go, you look one more time at the mirror, one last look at your reflection, one final moment of standing in the dark and wondering. Your reflection looks back at you, or perhaps you are the reflection, looking at the real person on the other side of the glass. There is no way to tell, no way to know for certain. You smile slightly, just a small smile. Not because anything is particularly funny or happy, but because the moment deserves a smile. Because standing in a dark bathroom in the middle of the night, looking at your own reflection, and thinking about urban legends and the nature of reality, is somehow a lovely thing to do. A peaceful thing, a human thing. Your reflection smiles back, or does it smile first? It is impossible to say. The mirror reflects instantaneously. There is no delay between your smile and your reflection's smile. They happen at exactly the same time. They are the same smile, or are they? Perhaps your reflection smiled first and you are simply mimicking it. Perhaps you are the reflection after all. These thoughts are becoming circular now, repeating, looping back on themselves. This is a sign that it is time to stop thinking, time to let the thoughts go, time to return to the simpler state of just existing, just being, just breathing in and out without trying to understand or explain or analyze. You turn away from the mirror, slowly, gently. There is no need to hurry. You take one last look at the bathroom, at the shapes in the darkness, at the mirror on the wall. Everything is as it should be. Everything is peaceful. Everything is quiet. You step out of the bathroom and into the hallway. The air is warmer here. The nightlight still glows softly near the floor, casting its gentle amber light on the walls. The shadows are still long. The house is still quiet. Nothing has changed. Everything is exactly as it was when you walked down this hallway minutes or hours ago. You walk slowly back toward your bedroom. Your feet make soft sounds on the floor. The house creaks slightly as you move. These are good sounds, familiar sounds. The sounds of home, the sounds of safety, the sounds of a place where you belong. As you walk, you think about the legend again, about not looking into mirrors after midnight, about the things you might see, the faces that might look back at you, the shadows that might not be shadows at all. You did not see anything unusual. You did not see anything frightening. You saw only yourself, only your own reflection in the darkness. But that does not mean the legend is false. It just means that tonight, in this moment, nothing happened. Or perhaps something did happen, but it was too subtle to notice, too quiet to perceive. Perhaps the other side of the mirror was watching. Perhaps something was looking back at you. Perhaps you were never alone in that bathroom after all. You will never know for certain, and that is fine. The not knowing is part of the experience, part of the mystery, part of what makes the legend interesting. If you knew for certain that mirrors were just mirrors and nothing more, there would be no reason to wonder, no reason to tell stories, no reason to stand in the dark and look for answers in your own reflection. The uncertainty is what keeps the legend alive, the possibility, the chance that maybe, just maybe, there is something more to mirrors than we understand. Something beyond science and logic and rational explanation. Something ancient and mysterious and unknowable. You reach your bedroom door. It is open, waiting for you. Inside, you can see the shape of your bed. The blankets are pulled back, ready for you to climb in. The pillows are fluffed and soft. Everything is prepared for sleep, for rest, for the quiet surrender of consciousness that happens every night when you close your eyes and let go of the day. You enter your bedroom. The air here is comfortable, not too cold, not too warm, just right for sleeping. You can smell the faint scent of your sheets, clean and fresh, the smell of home, the smell of safety. The smell of the place where you dream. But before you get into bed, you notice something. There is a mirror in your bedroom too. Not a large mirror like the one in the bathroom, just a small mirror on the dresser, a vanity mirror tilted at an angle. You can see it from where you stand. You can see the way it catches the faint light from the hallway, the way it reflects the darkness of your room. You could look into it. You could walk over to the dresser and look at your reflection one more time. You could see what you look like in this different mirror, in this different space. You could test the legend again, see if anything has changed, see if midnight has passed far enough that the rules are different now. But you decide not to. You have had enough of mirrors for tonight. You have looked and wondered and thought enough about reflections and legends and the mysteries of glass. Now it is time to rest. Time to let all of that go. Time to climb into bed and close your eyes and drift away into sleep. You walk to your bed and pull back the covers. The sheets are cool against your skin as you slide between them. Cool, but not cold. Comfortable. Welcoming. You pull the blankets up over you and settle into your pillow. The pillow is soft and supportive. It cradles your head perfectly. Your body begins to relax immediately. The tension you did not even realize you were carrying begins to drain away. You lie there in the darkness of your bedroom, staring up at the ceiling you cannot see. Your eyes are open, but there is nothing to look at. Just darkness. Just the absence of light. It is peaceful. It is calming. It is exactly what you need right now. Your mind begins to wander again. Back to the mirror, back to the bathroom, back to your reflection in the darkness. You remember the way your face looked in the shadows, the way your features were blurred and indistinct, the way you seemed both familiar and strange at the same time, and you remember the legend, the warning. Do not look into a mirror after midnight. But you did look. You looked, and nothing happened. Or maybe something did happen, but you did not notice it. Maybe something changed in that moment when you stood in front of the glass. Maybe something passed between you and your reflection. Maybe a part of you was left behind in the mirror and a part of your reflection came through to this side. Maybe you're not quite the same person who walked down that hallway earlier tonight. Maybe you are slightly different now, slightly changed, slightly more aware of the mysteries that exist in the world, slightly more connected to all the other people who have ever stood in front of mirrors and wondered. Or maybe nothing changed at all. Maybe you are exactly the same. Maybe the mirror is just a mirror. Maybe midnight is just another hour. Maybe the legends are just stories, told to entertain and frighten and make us think about things we normally do not think about. It does not matter which is true. What matters is that you experienced something. You stood in the darkness. You looked at your reflection. You wondered. You thought. You felt. And now you are here, in your bed, feeling peaceful and calm and ready for sleep. Your breathing is slowing down, becoming deeper, more rhythmic, in and out, in and out. Each breath is a wave washing over you, carrying you farther from wakefulness and closer to sleep. You can feel yourself beginning to drift, beginning to let go, beginning to surrender to the quiet darkness of your bedroom. But even as you drift, part of your mind remains on the mirror, on the legend, on the mystery of what might exist on the other side of the glass. This part of your mind does not want to let go. It wants to continue wondering, continuing thinking, continuing to explore the questions that have no answers, and so you let it. You let your mind wander where it wants to wander. You let the thoughts come and go. You do not try to control them, or direct them, or make them stop. You simply observe them, watch them drift through your consciousness like clouds drifting through the sky. Slow and lazy and without purpose or direction, you think about all the mirrors in the world, all the reflective surfaces, all the pieces of glass that show us our own faces. There are millions of them, billions of them. Everywhere you go, there are mirrors, in bathrooms and bedrooms and hallways, in stores and restaurants and office buildings, in cars and elevators and public restrooms. Mirrors are everywhere. We are surrounded by reflections, and every single one of those mirrors, according to the legend, becomes something different after midnight. Every single one of them becomes a potential portal, a potential doorway, a potential window into something else. For a few hours each night, the world is filled with these thin places, these boundaries between one reality and another. If the legend is true, then we are never as alone as we think we are. There is always something on the other side, always something watching, always something waiting. Not necessarily something bad or frightening or dangerous, just something. Some other presence, some other consciousness, some other way of being that exists parallel to our own. This is not a scary thought. Not anymore. Not lying here in your comfortable bed, wrapped in your soft blankets, drifting towards sleep. It is almost a comforting thought. The idea that there is more to the world than what we can see and touch and measure. The idea that mystery still exists, that wonder still exists, that there are still things we do not understand and maybe never will understand. The world is so often explained these days, so mapped out and documented and analysed. We have answers for almost everything. Scientific explanations, logical reasons, rational understandings. There is very little room left for mystery, very little space for the unknown. But mirrors after midnight, if the legend is true, remain one of those spaces, one of those places where the unknown still lives, where mystery still exists, where we can stand and wonder and not know for certain what we are looking at. You like that. You like having something to wonder about, something that cannot be fully explained or understood, something that keeps the world interesting, keeps it magical, keeps it from becoming too ordinary or too predictable or too completely known. Your eyes are closing now. You can feel the weight of your eyelids, the heaviness that comes with deep tiredness. You are not fighting it. You are not trying to stay awake. You are simply letting it happen. Letting your body do what it knows how to do, letting sleep come in its own time, in its own way. As your eyes close, you see the mirror in your mind, the bathroom mirror, dark and still and mysterious. You see your reflection standing there looking back at you. Or is it looking at you? Maybe it is looking at something else, something behind you, something you could not see, something that only the mirror can see. But these thoughts are becoming vague now, becoming fuzzy. The clear, sharp thinking of wakefulness is giving way to the loose, dreamy thinking of sleep. Your thoughts are no longer linear, no longer logical. They are beginning to drift and merge and transform into something else. Something that is not quite thinking at all, but not quite dreaming either. Something in between. You are in that space now. That quiet space between waking and sleeping. That peaceful space where the world falls away and you're left with just yourself, just your consciousness, floating free, just your awareness, suspended in the darkness. The mirror is still there in your mind, but it is changing, becoming something else. The bathroom is fading away, the darkness is deepening. Your reflection is still visible, but it is different now. It is moving on its own, walking away from you, walking deeper into the mirror, deeper into the darkness on the other side. You do not follow. You stay where you are. You watch your reflection disappear into the depths of the glass. Watch it become smaller and smaller until it is just a tiny point of light in the distance. And then even that light goes out, and there is only darkness, only the deep, complete darkness of sleep. But even in that darkness, the mirror remains. Not a physical mirror, not a real mirror, but the idea of a mirror, the concept, the symbol. It floats in your unconscious mind like a moon in the night sky, constant, eternal, always there, even when you're not looking at it. And maybe that is what mirrors really are. Not just objects, not just glass and silver, but ideas, symbols, representations of something deeper, something about identity and reality and the nature of consciousness itself, something about how we see ourselves and how we are seen, something about the boundaries between self and other, between inside and outside, between what is real and what is reflected. These thoughts are almost gone now, almost dissolved into the void of sleep, but they leave traces behind, impressions. Like the impression your hand left on the bathroom mirror, proof that you thought these thoughts, that you wondered these things, that you stood in front of the mirror and looked and questioned and explored. Tomorrow you might not remember any of this. You might wake up with only the vaguest sense that you thought about mirrors last night, that you stood in a dark bathroom and looked at your reflection, that you wondered about legends and mysteries and the things that might exist on the other side of the glass. Or maybe you will remember everything, every detail, every thought, every sensation. Maybe these memories will stay with you. Maybe they will become part of you, part of your understanding of the world, part of your collection of experiences that make you who you are. But right now, in this moment, none of that matters. Right now, you're simply here, simply existing, simply breathing, simply being. You're on the edge of sleep, the very edge. One more breath, one more thought, one more moment, and you will slip over the edge. You will fall into the deep, peaceful darkness of sleep, and all of this will fade away. Your body is completely relaxed now. Every muscle has released its tension. Every joint has settled into comfortable alignment. You are sinking into the mattress, becoming part of the bed, becoming part of the room, becoming part of the quiet darkness of night. Your breathing is so slow now, so deep. Each breath takes a long time to complete. In and in and in. Hold for just a moment, then out and out and out. Each exhale carries something away, some small piece of wakefulness, some small fragment of consciousness. With each breath, you are less awake, less aware, less present. And still, even now at the very edge of sleep, the mirror is there, in your mind, in your thoughts, in that deep part of you that continues thinking even when you're not aware of it. The mirror remains, always reflecting, always showing, always there. But what does it show when you're not looking at it? What does your reflection do when you're asleep? Does it sleep too? Does it lie down in its reflected bed and close its reflected eyes and dream reflected dreams? Or does it stay awake? Does it stand and move and live a life of its own on the other side of the glass? These are questions for dreams, questions that only the sleeping mind can explore. And you are almost asleep now, almost there, almost gone from this waking world and into the other world, the dream world, the world where anything is possible. Where mirrors can be more than mirrors, where reflections can be more than reflections, where legends can be true. The legend says not to look into a mirror after midnight, but it does not say why. It does not explain what will happen if you do. It leaves that part mysterious, open to interpretation, open to imagination. And maybe that is the point. Maybe the legend is not about what you will see in the mirror. Maybe it is about what you will see in yourself, about what you will discover when you look closely at your own face in the darkness. Maybe the legend is about self-awareness, about consciousness, about the strange experience of being a being that can look at itself, that can reflect on its own reflection, that can think about thinking, that can be aware of its own awareness. We are the only animals that recognize ourselves in mirrors. Other animals see their reflections and think it is another animal, another individual, another threat or friend or stranger. But humans know. We look in the mirror and we know that we are looking at ourselves. We understand the concept of reflection. We understand that the image in the glass is not another person, but a representation of ourselves. But do we really understand it? Or do we just think we understand it? Because when you look at your reflection, who is looking at whom? Are you looking at your reflection, or is your reflection looking at you? Is there a difference? From your reflection's perspective, you are the reflection. You are the image in the glass. Your reflection is the real one, the solid one, the one on the right side of the mirror. This is the mystery. This is the question that has no answer. This is what the legend is really about. Not about monsters or ghosts or things that go bump in the night, but about the fundamental mystery of consciousness, the mystery of self, the mystery of what it means to be you. And now you are slipping, falling, drifting down into the darkness, into the deep, into the place where questions dissolve and mysteries are just mysteries and legends are just legends and mirrors are just mirrors. Sleep is here, sleep has arrived, sleep is wrapping around you like a blanket, like a warm, dark, comfortable blanket that covers everything, covers your thoughts, covers your awareness, covers your consciousness, covers you completely until there is nothing left, nothing but sleep, nothing but darkness, nothing but the deep, peaceful void of rest. But even in sleep, even in dreams, even in the deepest darkness of unconsciousness, the mirror remains, somewhere in the back of your mind, somewhere in the depths of your psyche. The mirror is always there, always reflecting, always showing you yourself, always asking you to look, always asking you to wonder, always asking you to question. And perhaps that is why the legend exists. Perhaps that is why people have been telling this story for generations, passing it down from one person to the next, whispering it at sleepovers, sharing it online, keeping it alive. Because the legend is not really about mirrors, it is about us, about what we see when we look at ourselves, about what we discover in the darkness, about what we learn when we stand still and quiet and look closely at our own faces. The mirror shows us truth, not the truth of how we look, but the truth of who we are. And maybe that is frightening. Maybe that is why the legend warns us not to look after midnight, because midnight is a liminal time, a threshold time, a time when the boundaries are thin and the truth comes closer to the surface, a time when we might see ourselves more clearly than we want to, more honestly than we are prepared for. But you looked. You looked into the mirror after midnight. You saw your face in the darkness. You saw your reflection. You saw yourself. And you did not turn away. You did not run. You did not close your eyes. You looked and you wondered and you thought. And now you are here. Now you are sleeping. Now you are dreaming. Now you are at peace. The legend can say what it wants. The stories can warn what they will. But you know now that looking into a mirror after midnight is not something to fear. It is something to experience, something to explore, something to wonder about. It is a small adventure, a quiet mystery, a peaceful moment of connection with yourself and with all the people who have ever stood where you stood and looked, where you looked and wondered what you wondered. And tomorrow, when you wake up, when the sun is shining and the mirrors are bright and the darkness is gone, you will look at yourself again. You will see your face clearly, every detail, every feature, every familiar line and curve, and you will remember this night, this moment, this experience of looking into the dark mirror and wondering what you would see. And maybe you will smile. Maybe you will feel a small sense of satisfaction, a small sense of accomplishment. You did something that the legend said not to do. You looked into a mirror after midnight, and nothing bad happened, nothing frightening, nothing dangerous. You simply saw yourself. You simply experienced a moment. You simply added one more memory to your collection of memories, one more story to your collection of stories. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you pass a mirror at night, you will pause, you will look, you will wonder, you will remember this night and the legend and the mystery of your own reflection looking back at you from the darkness. And you will feel connected to something larger than yourself, something ancient and human and ongoing. The simple act of looking at yourself and wondering who you really are. This is sleep now. This is the deep. This is the place where all thoughts end and all stories fade and all mysteries remain mysterious. This is where you are now. This is where you will stay until morning, until the light returns, until the day begins again, until you wake up and start the cycle over, until you move through your day and return to night and stand once again before a mirror in the darkness. But for now there is only sleep, only rest, only the peaceful surrender of consciousness, only the quiet darkness of your bedroom and the soft warmth of your bed and the gentle rhythm of your breath. In and out, slower and slower, deeper and deeper, farther and farther from waking, closer and closer to dreams. The mirror in your bedroom is still there, still on the dresser, still reflecting the darkness. but you are not looking at it anymore. You're not thinking about it anymore. You're simply sleeping, simply resting, simply being. And your reflection, if it is there, if it exists in the darkness of the mirror, is doing the same. It is resting too. It is sleeping too. It is at peace too. Both of you, together, separated by glass and united by sleep, existing in parallel. Two versions of the same person, two sides of the same coin, two reflections of the same reality. Or maybe there is only one of you. Maybe the reflection is not separate at all. Maybe it is just light bouncing off glass, just physics, just science, just the way the world works. Maybe there is nothing mysterious about mirrors, nothing magical, nothing beyond what can be explained and understood and measured. But even if that is true, even if mirrors are just mirrors and reflections are just reflections and midnight is just another hour, the experience remains, the wonder remains, the mystery remains, because the mystery is not in the mirror. It is in you. It is in the consciousness that looks at the mirror and wonders what it sees. It is in the mind that can think about thinking, and be aware of being aware and question the nature of reality itself. And that is the real legend. That is the real story. Not about what happens when you look into a mirror after midnight, but about what happens when you look into yourself, when you question, when you wonder, when you stand in the darkness and search for answers in your own face. You are sleeping now, fully asleep, deeply asleep. The thoughts have stopped. The wondering has ended. There is only sleep, only darkness, only peace. But somewhere, deep in your unconscious mind, deeper than dreams, deeper than thoughts, deeper than awareness itself, the mirror remains, always there, always reflecting, always showing you yourself, always asking you to look, always asking you to wonder, always asking you to question who you are and what you see when you look at your own face. And maybe, in the morning, when you wake up, you will remember this. You will remember the mirror. You will remember the darkness. You will remember standing in the bathroom after midnight and looking at your reflection and wondering. You will remember the legend. You will remember the mystery. Or maybe you will forget. Maybe this will all fade away like dreams fade away. Maybe tomorrow you will look at yourself in the bright bathroom mirror and feel nothing special. No mystery. No wonder. No connection to the legend or the darkness or the quiet exploration of consciousness. It does not matter. What matters is that it happened, that you experienced it, that you were there, in that moment, looking at yourself in the dark mirror, wondering what you would see. That moment exists. That experience is real, whether you remember it or not, whether you think about it again or not. It happened. It is part of you now, part of your story, part of your life. And so you sleep, you rest, you drift through the darkness of night, you dream or do not dream, you exist in that space beyond waking, beyond thinking, beyond being aware. You simply are, simply exist, simply breathe. The house is quiet around you, the world is quiet around you, everything is still, everything is peaceful, everything is exactly as it should be. The bathroom mirror hangs on its wall, dark and still, reflecting nothing now because there is no one there to reflect. Or is it reflecting something? Is there something in the bathroom that cannot be seen with waking eyes? Something that only appears in mirrors? Something that exists in the reflected world but not in the physical world? You cannot know. You are sleeping. You are not there. You are not looking. You cannot see what the mirror shows when there is no one to see it. But maybe it does not matter. Maybe the mirror only matters when you are looking at it. Maybe the reflection only exists when you are there to see it. Maybe the legend only has power when you believe in it. Maybe the mystery only exists when you wonder about it. These are the last thoughts. The final whispers of consciousness before the complete surrender to sleep. They drift through your mind like smoke, shapeless, weightless, already dissolving into nothing. And then there is nothing. No thoughts, no awareness, no you. Just sleep, just darkness, just the quiet, peaceful void of rest. The night continues, the hours pass, the clock moves from midnight toward 1, toward 2, toward 3, the deepest part of the night, the darkest part, the quietest part. The world sleeps, you sleep, everything sleeps, except perhaps the mirror. The mirror does not sleep, the mirror does not rest, the mirror simply is. always reflecting, always there, always waiting for someone to look into it and wonder what they will see. And tomorrow, when the sun rises and the light returns and you wake up and begin your day, the mirror will be there. It will reflect the morning light. It will show your face clearly. It will be bright and normal and ordinary, just a mirror, just glass and silver, just a tool for seeing yourself. But you will know, you will remember, if only faintly, if only in the back of your mind, that the mirror is more than that it holds mystery, that it holds legend, that it holds the possibility of something beyond the ordinary, something that appears after midnight in the darkness, when the world is still and quiet and sleep. And maybe, just maybe, the next time midnight comes, the next time the darkness falls, the next time you find yourself standing in a hallway or a bathroom or a bedroom with a mirror on the wall, you will pause, you will look, you will wonder, you will remember, and you will understand that the legend is not a warning. It is an invitation to wonder, to question, to explore the mysteries that exist in the ordinary world, to find magic in the mundane, to discover that even something as simple as a mirror can be a doorway to contemplation, to self-awareness, to the deep questions about who we are and what we see when we look at ourselves. This is the gift of the legend, not fear, not caution, not avoidance, but curiosity, wonder, the willingness to look into the darkness and see what is there, even if what is there is just yourself, even if what you see is just your own face looking back at you. Because sometimes that is the most mysterious thing of all, the most wondrous thing, the most profound thing, to see yourself, to really see yourself, to look at your own face and recognize it and question it and wonder about it. To be aware that you are looking at yourself, to be conscious of your own consciousness, to reflect on your own reflection. This is what it means to be human. This is what separates us from animals, from objects, from the unthinking, unaware existence of rocks and trees and the mirror itself. We can look at ourselves. We can wonder who we are. We can question our own existence. We can stand in the darkness and search for meaning in our own faces. And the mirror helps us do this. The mirror makes it possible. Without mirrors, we would never see our own faces. We would never know what we look like to others. We would never have the opportunity to study ourselves, to examine ourselves, to ask ourselves who we are and what we see. So perhaps we should be grateful to mirrors. Perhaps we should be grateful for the legend. Perhaps we should be grateful for the mystery and the wonder and the invitation to look into the darkness and see what we find there. You are sleeping now, deeply sleeping. These thoughts are not conscious thoughts. They are not thoughts at all, really. They are just patterns, just neural activity, just the brain doing what it does when the body sleeps, consolidating memories, processing experiences, making connections between ideas. But perhaps, in the morning, when you wake up, some of these patterns will remain. Some of these connections will stick. Some of this processing will result in a new understanding, a new appreciation, a new way of looking at mirrors and legends and the mysteries of consciousness. Or perhaps not. Perhaps this will all fade away completely. Perhaps you will wake up with no memory of any of this. No sense that anything happened during the night. No awareness of the thoughts that drifted through your sleeping mind. It does not matter. What matters is the experience itself, the standing in the darkness, the looking at the mirror, the wondering, the questioning, the exploring. That happened. That is real. That is part of you now, whether you remember it consciously or not. The night is passing, time is moving forward, the clock is ticking, but you're not aware of any of this. You're sleeping. You're at rest. You're in the deep, peaceful darkness where time does not matter, where clocks do not exist, where there is only now, only this moment, only the eternal present of sleep. Your breathing is so slow, so deep, so peaceful. Each breath is a wave of relaxation. Each exhale releases tension you did not know you were holding. Each inhale brings in fresh air, fresh life, fresh energy that your body will use to restore itself during the night. Your body knows what to do. It does not need your conscious mind to tell it how to breathe or how to rest or how to heal. Your body is ancient. Billions of years of evolution have taught it everything it needs to know. It knows how to sleep. It knows how to dream. It knows how to restore itself and prepare for the next day. And so you sleep. You rest. You let your body do what it needs to do. You let your mind wander where it needs to wander. You let the night pass as it will pass. You're not in control. You're not trying to be in control. You're simply surrendering, simply accepting, simply being. This is peace. This is rest. This is what sleep is supposed to be, not fitful, not anxious, not restless, but deep. Complete, total, a full surrender to the darkness, a full acceptance of unconsciousness, a full trust that you will wake up in the morning, that the day will come again, that life will continue. The mirror in the bathroom is forgotten now. The legend is forgotten. The wondering is forgotten. There is only sleep, only this, only the quiet darkness and the soft breathing and the gentle drift of dreams. But dreams are strange things. They come from nowhere. They go nowhere. They exist in a space that is neither real nor unreal, neither true nor false, neither meaningful nor meaningless. They simply are. They happen. They drift through your sleeping mind like clouds drifting through the sky. And sometimes in dreams, you see things. You see places you have never been. You see people you have never met. You see events that never happened and never will happen. Dreams create entire worlds from nothing, entire realities that exist only in the sleeping mind. And sometimes, in dreams, you see mirrors, you see reflections, you see yourself looking back at you from the glass. And in dreams, the mirror can be anything. It can show anything. It can behave in any way. Because dreams do not follow the rules of waking reality. Dreams make their own rules. Dreams create their own logic. So if you dream of mirrors tonight, if you dream of reflections, if you dream of standing in a dark bathroom looking at your own face in the glass, anything could happen. Your reflection could move independently, could speak, could step out of the mirror, could be someone else entirely. Because in dreams, all of this is possible. In dreams, the legend can be true. But even if you dream of mirrors, even if your reflection does something strange or impossible or frightening, it will not wake you. It will not disturb your sleep. Because you know, on some level, even in the dream, that it is just a dream, that it is not real, that it cannot hurt you, that it is just your mind playing, just your imagination creating, just your consciousness exploring possibilities. And when you wake up, if you remember the dream at all, you will smile. You will think about how strange it was, how vivid, how real it seemed in the moment, and then you will go about your day. You will look at yourself in the bright bathroom mirror. You will see your normal face, your normal reflection, your normal self, and the dream will fade, the strangeness will dissipate, the mystery will be forgotten until the next night, until the next darkness, until the next time you find yourself standing before a mirror after midnight, wondering what you will see, because the legend will always be there. The mystery will always exist. The question will always remain. What happens when you look into a mirror after midnight? What do you see? What looks back at you? What exists on the other side of the glass? And the answer will always be the same. The answer will always be uncertain. The answer will always be open to interpretation, because that is the nature of legends. That is the nature of mysteries. That is the nature of questions that have no definitive answers. You see yourself. You see your reflection. You see the darkness. You see the shadows. You see what you expect to see. Or you see something else, something unexpected, something strange. Something that makes you wonder, makes you question, makes you think. And maybe that is all the legend is meant to do. Not to frighten, not to warn, not to protect, but to make you think, to make you wonder, to make you aware of the mysteries that exist in the ordinary world, to make you conscious of the fact that even something as simple and common as a mirror can be a source of contemplation, of curiosity, of exploration. The night is deep now. The darkest part has passed. The world is beginning its slow turn toward morning, toward light, toward day. But you do not know this. You are sleeping. You are deep in the darkness. You are far from waking, and in your sleep you are peaceful, you are calm, you are resting completely. Your body is still, your mind is quiet, your breath is slow and steady. You are exactly where you need to be. Doing exactly what you need to do. Being exactly who you need to be. There is nothing else required of you right now. No tasks, no responsibilities, no worries, no concerns. Just this. Just sleep. Just rest. just the deep, peaceful darkness of night. The mirror in the bathroom remains on its wall. The mirror in your bedroom remains on your dresser. All the mirrors in your house remain where they are. Silent, still, reflective, waiting, always waiting, for someone to look, for someone to wonder, for someone to question what they see. But right now, there is no one looking. Right now, there is only sleep, only darkness, only the quiet house and the quiet world and the quiet rest of night. And that is perfect. That is exactly as it should be. The mirrors can wait, the legends can wait, the mysteries can wait. Right now, there is only sleep. Only you, only this moment of complete and total rest. Your breathing continues, in and out, slow and steady, rhythmic and peaceful. The sound of life, the sound of rest, the sound of a body at peace. And somewhere, in the deepest part of your mind, in the place where consciousness meets unconsciousness, where waking meets sleeping, where reality meets dreams, the mirror still exists. The image of it, the memory of it, the concept of it, the mirror in the darkness, the reflection in the glass, the face looking back at you. But it is fading now, dissolving, becoming less distinct, less important, less present, because sleep is taking over completely. Sleep is claiming you fully. Sleep is pulling you down into the deepest depths where there are no thoughts, no images, no memories, no awareness of anything at all. Just sleep. Just darkness, just the void, just the complete absence of consciousness, just the pure, simple, perfect nothingness of deep rest. This is where you are now. This is where you will stay, until morning, until light, until the day returns and calls you back to waking, until your eyes open and you see the ceiling of your bedroom and you remember who you are and where you are and that a new day has begun. But that is hours away. That is in the future. That is not now. Now is just sleep. Now is just this. Now is just the deep, peaceful darkness that holds you and cradles you and keeps you safe until morning comes. And so you sleep, you rest, you dream or do not dream. You exist in that space beyond awareness, beyond thought, beyond self. You simply are, simply breathe, simply exist. The legend of the mirror after midnight fades into the background. It becomes just one of many thoughts you had during the day, one of many experiences, one of many moments. It joins all the other memories and ideas and experiences that make up who you are. It becomes part of your story, part of your life, part of you. And tomorrow, or someday, or perhaps never, you will think about it again. You will remember standing in the dark bathroom, looking at the mirror, seeing your reflection in the shadows, wondering what it meant, questioning what you saw, exploring the mystery, and maybe you will decide to do it again, to stand before a mirror after midnight, to look at yourself in the darkness, to see what you see, to wonder what it means, to explore the legend for yourself. Or maybe you will not. Maybe once was enough. Maybe you learned what you needed to learn. Maybe you experienced what you needed to experience. Maybe the mystery is solved, or maybe it is not. But either way, you do not need to explore it again. It does not matter. What matters is that you did it, that you experienced it, that you stood in the darkness and looked at the mirror and wondered, that you were curious, that you were brave, that you were willing to explore the unknown. And now you are sleeping, now you are resting, now you are at peace. The day is over, the night is passing, sleep has claimed you. And all is well. The mirror remains, the legend remains, the mystery remains, but you do not need to think about any of that now. You do not need to wonder or question or explore. You just need to sleep, just need to rest, just need to be, and so you are. You are sleeping. You are resting. You are being. You are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do, being exactly who you need to be. This is enough. This is everything. This is all there is. Just sleep, just darkness, just peace, just the gentle rhythm of breath and the soft warmth of blankets and the quiet stillness of night. And somewhere, in the depths of your sleeping mind, in the place beyond dreams, beyond thoughts, beyond awareness. You know that you are safe. You know that you are home. You know that all is well. You know that morning will come. You know that you will wake. You know that life will continue. But for now, there is only this. Only sleep. Only rest. Only the deep, peaceful darkness that holds you and keeps you and lets you be. And in that darkness, in that sleep, in that rest, you are complete. You are whole. You are at peace. You are exactly as you should be. The mirror in the bathroom hangs silent on the wall. The mirror in your bedroom sits quiet on the dresser. All the mirrors in all the world reflect the darkness, reflect the stillness, reflect the quiet of night. And you sleep, you rest, you dream. You exist in the space beyond waking, beyond awareness, beyond the need to understand or explain or question. You simply are. And that is enough. That is everything. That is all there is. Sleep, rest, peace, darkness, quiet, stillness, breath, life, existence, being. This is the moment. This is now. This is all there is, and it is perfect. You are floating now in that deep place where sleep becomes something more than just rest. You're somewhere between consciousness and pure darkness. Your body is completely still on the bed. Your breathing is so slow that each breath seems to take forever. In and out, in and out. The rhythm is hypnotic. The rhythm is eternal. The rhythm is everything. The blankets around you have warmed to match your body temperature. There is no distinction anymore between where you end and where the bed begins. You have melted into the mattress. You have become part of the room. You have dissolved into the darkness. You are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Time has stopped meaning anything. Minutes could be hours. Hours could be minutes. You have no way of knowing, no way of measuring, no way of caring. Time is a concept that belongs to the waking world. Here, in this deep place of sleep, time does not exist. There is only now, only this, only the eternal present moment that stretches in all directions forever. Your mind is quiet. Not completely empty, but quiet. Thoughts drift by occasionally like leaves floating on a still pond. They appear from nowhere. They drift across your awareness. They disappear into nowhere. You do not hold on to them. You do not examine them. You simply let them pass. Let them drift. Let them go. Sometimes the thoughts are about the mirror, about the dark glass in the bathroom, about your reflection looking back at you. But these thoughts have no urgency now, no importance. They are just thoughts, just images, just memories that surface and then sink back down into the depths of your unconscious mind. The mirror is not frightening. It never was frightening. It is just interesting, just mysterious, just one of those things in life that makes you wonder, that makes you think, that makes you aware that the world is larger and stranger than you usually acknowledge. You remember standing in the bathroom. You remember the coolness of the tile. You remember the darkness. You remember your face in the mirror, barely visible, more shadow than substance. You remember the legend, the warning, the old superstition about not looking into mirrors after midnight. But you looked and nothing happened, or everything happened, or something happened that was too subtle to notice in the moment but will reveal itself later. Or nothing happened at all, and the legend is just a story, just words, just something people say to make the ordinary world feel a little more magical. It does not matter which is true. What matters is the experience, the standing in the darkness, the looking, the wondering, the willingness to explore, the curiosity that led you to the bathroom in the first place, the desire to see what you would see, to test the legend, to know for yourself, and now you know. Or you do not know, or you know something but you're not sure what. And that uncertainty is beautiful, that not knowing is perfect. Because life is full of uncertainties, full of mysteries, full of questions that have no clear answers, and that is what makes life interesting. What makes it worth living? What makes it worth experiencing? You shift slightly in your bed, just a tiny movement, an adjustment of your body to find an even more comfortable position. Your pillow cradles your head. Your blankets cocoon you in warmth. Everything is soft. Everything is comfortable. Everything is exactly as it should be. The darkness of your bedroom is complete. Your eyes are closed, but even if they were open, you would see nothing. The room is too dark. The night is too deep. There is no light to see by, only darkness, only the absence of light, only the quiet emptiness that fills the space. But it is not really empty. The room is full of things, your furniture, your clothes, your belongings, all the objects that make this room yours. They are all still there in the darkness. You just cannot see them, cannot perceive them. But you know they are there. You trust that they are there. You do not need to see them to know they exist. This is faith, in a way. Not religious faith, just the simple faith that the world continues to exist even when you're not looking at it, that reality persists even when you are not perceiving it, that things remain where they are even when you cannot see them or touch them or verify their existence. You have this same faith about your reflection. You know that if you got up right now and walked to the bathroom and turned on the light and looked in the mirror, your reflection would be there. It would look back at you. It would move when you moved. It would be exactly what you expect it to be. You do not need to check. You do not need to verify. You know this as certainly as you know anything. But what about when you're not looking? What about right now, when you're lying in bed, eyes closed, not looking at any mirrors? Does your reflection exist right now? Is it there in the bathroom mirror waiting? Or does it only come into being when you look at it? Does the act of observation create the reflection? Or is the reflection always there, always waiting, always present, whether you're looking or not? These are quantum questions, questions about the nature of reality, questions about observation and existence, questions that physicists debate and philosophers ponder and no one really knows the answer to. Because how can you verify what exists when you are not observing it? The very act of checking creates the observation. You cannot know what is there when you are not looking, because the moment you look, you are looking. Your breathing continues, slow and steady, in and out. Each breath is a wave. Each exhale is a release. Each inhale is a renewal. Your body knows what to do. Your lungs know how to breathe. Your heart knows how to beat. You do not need to think about any of it. You do not need to control any of it. It all happens automatically, perfectly, naturally. This is the miracle of being alive, of being a biological organism, of being a body that functions without conscious thought. Your body is so complex, so intricate, so impossibly well designed, trillions of cells all working together, all cooperating, all doing their jobs without you having to tell them what to do, and your mind, your consciousness, the awareness that is experiencing this moment right now. Where does it come from? How does it arise from mere matter, from neurons and synapses and electrical impulses? How does the physical brain create the subjective experience of being you? This is another mystery, another question that has no clear answer. Scientists can map the brain, can identify which regions are responsible for which functions, can explain how neurons communicate and how patterns of activity correspond to thoughts and feelings and experiences, but they cannot explain consciousness itself, cannot explain how subjective experience arises, cannot explain what it feels like to be you. Maybe consciousness is like a reflection. Maybe it's something that arises when certain conditions are met. Maybe it is not a thing that exists on its own, but a relationship, an interaction, a pattern that emerges from complexity, like how a reflection emerges when light interacts with a mirror. The reflection is not separate from the light or the mirror. It is the relationship between them. It is what happens when they come together. Maybe consciousness is what happens when the brain reaches a certain level of complexity, when the patterns of neural activity become intricate enough, when the system becomes sophisticated enough to reflect on itself, to be aware of its own awareness, to think about thinking, to observe itself observing. This would make consciousness a kind of mental mirror, a way that the brain reflects itself back to itself, a way that you can look at your own thoughts, examine your own mind, be aware of your own awareness. Just like a physical mirror lets you see your physical face, consciousness lets you see your mental processes. And just like with physical mirrors, there is always something strange about this self-reflection, something paradoxical, something that creates an infinite regress. You are aware that you are aware, but then you are also aware that you are aware that you are aware, and aware that you are aware that you are aware that you are aware. It goes on forever. An endless hall of mirrors, each reflection reflecting the reflection before it, but you do not fall into this infinite regress. Your mind does not get trapped in the loop, because you are sleeping now, because your consciousness has dimmed. because the self-reflection has softened and blurred and faded into the background. You are aware, but only barely. You exist, but only faintly. You are here, but also not here. This is the gift of sleep, the temporary release from self-awareness, the break from the constant monitoring of your own existence, the freedom from having to be conscious all the time. In sleep, you can just be, just exist, just breathe, without having to think about it, without having to be aware of it, without having to reflect on it. Your body is so relaxed now. Every muscle is released. Every joint has softened. Every bit of tension has drained away. You're like water, like liquid, like something that has no fixed shape but simply conforms to whatever contains it. You have conformed to the shape of your bed. You have become one with the mattress and the pillows and the blankets. You are no longer separate, you are part of the whole. The house around you is equally still, equally quiet, equally at rest. The walls stand solid and silent. The floors rest beneath the weight of furniture. The ceiling holds steady above. Everything is in its place. Everything is as it should be. Everything is settled and calm and peaceful. You can almost hear the silence. It has a quality to it. A texture. It is not empty silence. It is full silence. Rich silence. The kind of silence that comes from the absence of sound but also the presence of peace. The kind of silence that feels good, that feels right, that feels like home. Somewhere in the house a clock is ticking. You cannot hear it from your bedroom, but you know it is there, marking time, counting seconds, moving the hands around the face, tick, tick, tick. Each tick is a moment, each moment is a tick. Time passes whether you are aware of it or not. The clock passed midnight hours ago. That threshold has been crossed. That boundary has been passed. You are deep into the night now, deep into the darkest hours, the hours when most of the world is sleeping, when the day people have gone to bed, and the night people have not yet woken, when the world is at its quietest, its stillest, its most peaceful. This is when the legends say the veil is thinnest, when the boundary between worlds is most permeable, when spirits can cross over, when magic is most powerful, when strange things can happen. This is the witching hour, the devil's hour, the time when the supernatural becomes natural. But lying here in your bed, warm and comfortable and peaceful, these legends seem distant. They seem like stories, like entertainment, like things people say to make the night more interesting. Because the night is not scary. The darkness is not dangerous. The silence is not threatening. These are just qualities of nighttime, just aspects of the natural cycle of day and night, just the way the world works. And yet, there is something you cannot quite name, something about the deep night that feels different from other times. Not scary different, not dangerous different, just different. More quiet, more still, more open, more receptive, like the world is holding its breath. Waiting, listening, paying attention. Maybe this is why people create legends, why they tell stories about midnight and mirrors and supernatural occurrences. Not because these things are real in a literal sense, but because they are real in an experiential sense, because the night does feel different, because standing in front of a mirror in the darkness does create a different experience than standing in front of a mirror in the light, because the deep hours of night do have a quality that the daylight hours lack. The legends are not lies, they are not deceptions, they are attempts to capture this feeling, to express this experience, to put into words something that is fundamentally difficult to express. The strange, quiet, mysterious quality of the deep night, the sense that something is different, even if you cannot say exactly what. Your mind drifts to other legends, other stories, other attempts to explain the unexplainable, stories about shadows that move on their own, about whispers in empty rooms, about cold spots in warm houses, about feelings of being watched when you're alone, about doors that open by themselves, about lights that flicker for no reason. Are any of these things real? Or are they all just the mind playing tricks? The imagination filling in gaps? The brain trying to make sense of ambiguous information? Probably both. Probably some combination of real phenomena and perceived patterns. Probably the truth is somewhere in the middle, where the objective and the subjective meet and blend and become impossible to separate. Because you are not a passive observer of reality. You're an active participant. Your mind does not just receive information from the world, it interprets that information. It creates meaning from it. It constructs a coherent experience from billions of bits of sensory data. And in that construction, that interpretation, that creation of meaning, there is room for error, room for imagination, room for stories and legends and beliefs that may or may not correspond to objective reality. But does that make them any less real? If you experience something, if you feel something, if you perceive something, does it matter whether it corresponds to some objective external reality? Or is your experience itself the reality? Is the feeling the truth, regardless of what caused it? These are deep questions, philosophical questions, questions that people have been asking for thousands of years. Questions that have no simple answers, questions that different traditions and different thinkers answer in different ways. But lying here in your bed, drifting in the space between sleep and waking, these questions do not need answers. They are just questions, just thoughts, just ideas floating through your consciousness like clouds floating through the sky. You can notice them without needing to solve them. You can think about them without needing to resolve them. You can let them be mysterious. This is one of the gifts of nighttime, one of the gifts of darkness, one of the gifts of the quiet hours, the ability to think about things without needing to reach conclusions, the permission to wonder without needing to know, the freedom to explore questions without needing answers. During the day, there is pressure to be certain, to know things, to have answers, to be decisive and clear and confident. But at night, in the darkness, in the quiet, that pressure lifts. You can be uncertain. You can not know. You can wonder and explore and drift without any agenda or goal or destination. This is what you are doing now, drifting, wondering, exploring the landscape of your own mind, noticing thoughts as they arise, watching them float by, letting them go, not trying to hold on to anything, not trying to figure anything out, just being present with whatever appears. And what appears again and again is the mirror, the image of it, the memory of it, the dark glass in the bathroom, your reflection barely visible, the shadows playing across your face, the legend echoing in your mind. Do not look into a mirror after midnight, but you did look, and here you are. Safe and warm and comfortable in your bed. Nothing bad happened, nothing frightening, nothing dangerous. You looked into the mirror after midnight and you saw yourself. You saw your reflection. You saw the darkness. You saw the mystery. And now you are sleeping. Now you are resting. Now you are at peace. Maybe the legend is not about what happens when you look. Maybe it is about what happens when you do not look. Maybe the warning is not to protect you from seeing something. Maybe it is to protect you from not seeing, from missing the opportunity, from passing by the mirror without pausing, without wondering, without taking a moment to look at yourself and think about what you see. Because how often do you really look at yourself, really see yourself? You glance at mirrors all the time, you check your appearance, you make sure your hair looks okay, you brush your teeth, you put on makeup or shave or do whatever grooming tasks you need to do. But how often do you actually look at yourself? How often do you meet your own eyes in the mirror and hold that gaze? How often do you see yourself as another person might see you? Not often. It is uncomfortable. It is strange. It feels narcissistic or self-indulgent. So you glance and you look away. You see what you need to see and then you move on. You avoid the intensity of really looking, of really seeing, of really being present with your own reflection. But at night, in the darkness, when the world is quiet and there are no tasks to complete and no places to be, you can look. You can really look. You can stand before the mirror and meet your own eyes and hold that gaze. You can see yourself not as a task to be completed or an appearance to be maintained, but as a person, as a consciousness, as a mysterious being who exists in this world and experiences things and thinks thoughts and wonders about the nature of reality. And maybe that is what the legend is really warning you about. Not that you will see something frightening, but that you will see something true, something real, something about yourself that you usually avoid, something that is easier to ignore during the busy daylight hours but becomes unavoidable in the quiet darkness of night. You shift again in your bed. Such a small movement, just a tiny adjustment, but it brings a fresh wave of comfort, a renewed sense of relaxation. Your body is so good at this, so skilled at finding comfort, at seeking rest, at creating the conditions for sleep. Your mind is following your body's lead, becoming quieter, becoming softer, becoming less concerned with thoughts and ideas and questions. The wondering is fading, the thinking is diminishing. You are sinking deeper into sleep, deeper into rest, deeper into the quiet darkness where thoughts do not matter, and questions do not need answers, and legends are just stories that belong to another time, another place, another state of consciousness. The mirror in the bathroom is just glass, just an object, just a thing that reflects light. It has no power, no magic, no ability to show you anything except what is physically in front of it. The legend is just a story, just words, just something people say, and yet there is something about mirrors, something undeniable, something that goes beyond the physical properties of glass and silver. Something about the experience of seeing yourself, of meeting your own gaze, of recognizing that the face in the mirror is your face, that the eyes looking back at you are your eyes, that you're looking at yourself looking at yourself. This is strange. This has always been strange. This will always be strange. No matter how many times you do it, no matter how familiar the experience becomes, there is always something uncanny about it, something slightly off, something that reminds you that consciousness is mysterious and identity is fluid, and the self is not as solid and permanent as you usually believe it to be. Your breathing is so slow now, so deep, so steady. Each breath takes so long that you forget you are breathing. You forget that your body is doing this. You forget that you are alive and functioning and existing. You are just awareness, just presence, just a point of consciousness floating in the darkness, and in this state the distinction between you and your reflection becomes meaningless. Because what is the difference, really? Both are just images, just representations, just patterns of light and neural activity that create the sense of a self. The reflection in the mirror is not less real than the self that looks at it. They are both constructions, both creations, both ways of organizing experience into something coherent and recognizable. Maybe you are your own reflection. Maybe the person you think of as you is just the mirror image of something else, something deeper, something more fundamental, something that exists beyond the realm of names and faces and physical bodies. Maybe the real you is what is looking. And what you see in the mirror is just a representation, a reflection, a symbol of something that cannot be directly perceived. These thoughts are becoming dreamlike now, becoming less logical, less linear, less bound by the rules of waking thought. They are flowing and merging and transforming into something else, something that is not quite thought and not quite dream, but something in between, something that belongs to this liminal space between sleep and waking. You're aware of your bedroom around you, the darkness, the stillness, the silence. But you're also aware of something else, some other space, some other realm. It is not a physical place. It is not somewhere you could go to or point to or describe in concrete terms. It is just a sense, a feeling. An awareness that there is more to reality than what you can see and touch and measure. Maybe this is what the legends are trying to express. Not that there are literal monsters or ghosts or supernatural entities, but that there is more, that reality is larger than it seems, that consciousness extends beyond the physical, that there are experiences and states and ways of being that cannot be captured by purely material explanations. The mirror becomes a symbol of this, a threshold, a boundary, a place where the physical and the non-physical meet, where light becomes image, where matter becomes meaning, where the objective and the subjective merge and become inseparable. When you look into a mirror, you're not just seeing light reflected off glass, you're experiencing consciousness reflecting on itself. You're seeing the self seeing itself, your awareness becoming aware of its own awareness. This is what makes mirrors special, what makes them mysterious, what makes them worthy of legends and stories and warnings. Your eyes are closed, have been closed, will remain closed. You're not looking at anything, you're not seeing anything, and yet, in your mind, you can see the mirror, you can picture it, the dark bathroom, the deep shadows, the faint outline of your reflection. You can recreate the experience entirely in your imagination, without any external stimulus, without any light or glass or physical reflection. This is another mystery, the ability to create images in your mind, to see things that are not there, to experience sights and sounds and sensations purely through imagination and memory. Where do these mental images come from? How does the brain create them? How is it that you can close your eyes and see things just as vividly as if they were really in front of you? And when you picture the mirror in your mind, when you imagine your reflection looking back at you, which is more real? The physical mirror that exists in your bathroom, or the mental mirror that exists in your imagination? Both create an experience. Both show you an image. Both allow you to see yourself. So which is the real mirror? Maybe both, maybe neither. Maybe reality is not divided into real and unreal, but is instead a spectrum, a continuum, with different degrees and types of existence. The physical mirror exists in one way, the mental mirror exists in another way. Both are real, both are valid, both are part of your experience of being alive. You're so deep into sleep now, so far from waking. Your thoughts are barely thoughts anymore. They are just impressions, just feelings, just vague sensations drifting through your unconscious mind. The mirror is still there, but it is fading, becoming less important, less present, less meaningful. Soon it will be gone entirely. Soon you will be in the deepest sleep, the place where there are no thoughts at all, no images, no awareness, just pure rest, just the body maintaining itself, just the brain cycling through its necessary processes, just existence without experience. But not yet, not quite yet. You're still hovering in that space just above the deepest sleep, that space where a tiny bit of awareness remains, where you're almost gone but not quite, almost absent but not entirely, almost dissolved into unconsciousness but still, just barely present. And in this space the mirror remains, a faint image, a distant memory, a symbol of something. Of what? You're not sure anymore. You have forgotten. The thoughts about consciousness and reflection and the nature of reality have dissolved. What remains is just the image itself, the dark glass, the vague shape of your face, the shadows. It is beautiful in a way, this image, this memory, this symbol, not beautiful in a conventional sense, not pretty or attractive or aesthetically pleasing, but beautiful in its mystery, in its depth, in its ability to evoke something, to mean something, to stand for all the questions and wonderings and explorations that you engaged in tonight. The mirror is not just a mirror, it is a meditation, a practice, a way of looking at yourself and at the world, a way of being present with mystery, a way of accepting that some things cannot be known, only experienced, a way of being okay with uncertainty, with ambiguity, with the vast unknown that surrounds and permeates everything, and now you are letting it go, letting the mirror fade, letting the thoughts dissolve, letting the awareness dim. You have explored enough, wondered enough, thought enough. Now it is time to rest, to sleep, to let go completely. Your breathing continues, automatic, unconscious, perfect. Your heart continues beating, your blood continues flowing, your cells continue functioning, all without your awareness, all without your input, all without you needing to think about it or control it or even know that it is happening. This is trust, this is faith, this is surrender. You're letting your body do what it knows how to do. You're letting the natural processes of life continue without interference. You're getting out of your own way and allowing yourself to simply be. The night continues around you. The darkness persists. The silence holds. The world turns slowly on its axis, carrying you with it, moving you through space, moving you through time, moving you toward morning, toward light, toward the next day. But that is hours away. That is in the future. That is not now. Now is just this. Just sleep. Just rest. Just the deep, peaceful, dreamless sleep that restores and heals and prepares you for whatever comes next. The mirror in the bathroom hangs on its wall. The mirror in your bedroom sits on its dresser. All the mirrors in your house remain where they are, dark and still and empty. Or are they empty? When no one is looking at them, when no one is there to be reflected, what do mirrors show? Nothing perhaps, just darkness, just the absence of light, just empty glass waiting for someone to appear in front of it. Or perhaps they show something else, something that only appears when no one is watching, something that vanishes the moment someone enters the room. But these are just more thoughts, more wonderings, more questions that have no answers, and you're too deeply asleep now to engage with them. They drift through your mind like the final leaves falling from a tree in autumn, gently, slowly, inevitably. And then they're gone, and you are gone too. Not gone from existence, not gone from life, just gone from awareness, gone from consciousness, gone from the need to think or know or understand anything. You have surrendered completely to sleep, to rest, to the deep, healing darkness of night. Your bedroom holds you. Your bed supports you. Your blankets warm you. Everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is perfect. Everything is peaceful. The legend about mirrors and midnight fades into the background of your mind. It becomes just one of countless memories and experiences and thoughts that make up who you are. It is not forgotten. It is simply filed away, stored somewhere in the vast library of your mind, ready to be retrieved when needed, ready to resurface when relevant. But for now, sleeping, resting, waiting, just like you, just like your body, just like your consciousness, all sleeping, all resting, all waiting for morning to come and call you back to waking, to call you back to awareness, to call you back to the daily task of being alive and conscious and engaged with the world. But that is then, that is later, that is tomorrow, this is now, this is sleep, this is rest. This is the deep, quiet, peaceful darkness that holds you and keeps you and lets you be exactly as you are. Nothing more is required, nothing more is needed, nothing more is possible. You are complete, you are whole, you are perfect just as you are in this moment. The mirror does not judge you. The darkness does not threaten you. The silence does not disturb you. Everything is neutral. Everything is accepting. Everything allows you to be. And so you are. You exist. You rest, you sleep, you breathe, you live, all without effort, all without struggle, all without resistance. This is peace. This is what peace feels like. Complete acceptance, complete surrender, complete trust, complete rest. The night deepens, the hours pass, the world continues turning, and you sleep through it all, peaceful and still, and deeply, deeply asleep. The mirror remains on the wall, always there, always waiting, always ready to reflect whatever appears before it. But for now, there is nothing to reflect. Just darkness, just emptiness, just the quiet space of a room where no one is present. Or is someone present? Is some part of you always there, even when your body is sleeping elsewhere? Is consciousness local or non-local? Does it exist only in your physical brain, or does it extend somehow beyond your body? Can you be in multiple places at once? Can your awareness split and divide and exist in different locations simultaneously? These are the kinds of questions that mystics and meditators and philosophers have explored for millennia. Questions about the nature of mind. Questions about the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. Questions that science is only beginning to address. But you do not need to answer these questions. You do not need to solve these mysteries. You just need to sleep. Just need to rest. Just need to let your body and mind restore themselves in preparation for the next day. And you are doing that. You are sleeping deeply. You are resting completely. You are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. The mirror in the darkness holds its secrets. The night in its depth conceals its mysteries. The sleep in its profundity offers its healing. And you receive it all. You accept it all. You rest in it all. This is enough. This is everything. This is all there is. Sleep, rest, peace, darkness, silence, stillness, the mirror, the reflection, the legend, the mystery, all of it together, all of it one, all of it you, and you are sleeping, deeply sleeping, peacefully sleeping. The world is quiet, the house is still, the night is deep, and you are safe. You are home, you are at rest. This is all you need to know. This is all that matters. This is the truth of this moment. Sleep, rest, peace. And the mirror waits, always waiting, always ready, always there, reflecting nothing and everything, empty and full, silent and speaking, a mystery, a symbol, a threshold, and you are sleeping, 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 deep and peaceful and still,